webinar. My name is Darlene Salzer, and I'm a marketing manager here at Lindblad Expeditions. Let's go ahead and get started. We have over 50 years of expedition travel experience all around the world. Our founder, who you see here, Lars Erik Lindblad, was the first to bring lay travelers to Antarctica and the Galapagos, and the first to lead expeditions to Indonesia, Easter Island, and the South Pacific. And today we're led by his son, Sven Olaf Lindblad, who you see here, and proud to carry on the traditions of his father. New this year also, you'll see Sven pictured here with his son, Jeremy Lindblad. So this year, the third generation has stepped forward as Jeremy is the Business Development Director in our Sydney, Australia office. Another important aspect of the Lindblad legacy is the strong commitment to environmentally responsible tourism, which we've had since the beginning. In 2004, Lindblad entered into a strategic partnership with National Geographic. It was a natural alliance on many levels, since both organizations care deeply about exploration, discovery, and inspiring guests to explore and care about the planet. The partnership offers unparalleled benefits to you. It's the only way to travel with National Geographic photographers and explorers in the Southern Hemisphere. And as a result of our alliance with National Geographic, we developed an exclusive expedition photography program. We have a National Geographic photographer on board every National Geographic Orion voyage, plus a Lindblad Expeditions National Geographic certified photo instructor. So this gives you access to instruction and tips from the world's top photographers with the chance to learn photo skills that will last your life. I cannot say enough about our staff. We have the most knowledgeable expedition team in the South Pacific, and they really make the experience. Every voyage sails with 6 naturalists, so for you this means more learning and more personal attention. And one guest summed it up best when she said, "If I could remember everything they told me, I'd have another year of college under my belt." And speaking of staff, I'm thrilled to be joined today by Michelle Graves, Expedition Development Manager. Michelle was a naturalist, undersea specialist, and expedition leader with us for over 10 years. She has a lifelong passion for the natural world. She did her master's thesis on the effects of changing ocean climate on the kelp forest fish community off Santa Cruz Island, California. And she returned to Lindblad after logging nearly 7,500 nautical miles on a 6-month South Pacific voyage, and is now developing itineraries for National Geographic Orion. Hi, Michelle, are you there?
I am here, Darlene. Thanks so much. Welcome, everybody. It's great to be here. I look forward to sharing with you a little bit about what Orion is going to be doing in the next few months.
Great. Well, I will turn it over to you to talk through the ship and the itineraries.
Great. Thanks so much. Well, I'm very excited to introduce to you the newest ship in the Lindblad National Geographic fleet, and that is the National Geographic Orion. From March of 2014, we'll be operating and offering some very exciting itineraries. This ship is uniquely equipped to explore the ocean. It's an ice-class hull, so it's also equipped to explore the ice of the Southern Hemisphere, but we'll talk largely today about some of the tropical itineraries as well. This ship is very elegant, and I think you'll find it very comfortable, beautiful lines. However, it still is a Lindblad expedition and a very relaxed flavor, relaxed character on board the ship. You've got a crew of people who are expert at taking excellent care of you aboard the ship. It's a beautiful ship that's got some lovely deck space, and you'll have these panoramic views from the observation deck. Also, a lovely lounge. Of course, this is often the center of our community life on board this ship once we're back on board. A view from up high, you can see that in cool climates, this will be a whirlpool hot tub, but in warm places can be a nice plunge pool, and you can take advantage of being out in the sun. National Geographic Orion is going to continue the outstanding cuisine and elegance that Orion was known for, with all of our menus designed by Sydney chef Serge Dansereau. He has consulted on all of the menus, and he's the principal chef of Sydney's famed Bathers Pavilion restaurant. Of course, Lindblad will maintain its commitment to natural foods, sustainable producers, and our responsibly harvested seafood, give you a chance to experience the diverse flavors of the region. Our dining room aboard National Geographic Orion is very elegant, but also relaxed. Single seating, no assigned seats, all guests accommodated in one seating. And one of the things I really love about this ship is the ability to dine outdoors in places where the climate permits. We'll have our breakfasts and lunches out here on deck, and then often be able to dine under the stars for dinner. So it's still, it's elegant, but also still very relaxed, and there's no need to dress up for meals on board. Orion, National Geographic Orion is equipped with a fitness center and also our signature Lex Spa. You can have massage or other spa treatments. We'll have a wellness specialist that will lead a daily stretch class on deck. And so this will be another aspect of your experience on board. The crew of National Geographic Orion are very well-trained professionals. They are attentive, and they're very comfortable, ensuring a comfortable shipboard life. We've also got an open bridge policy, which means that you can come up and visit the bridge, speak with the navigation officers at just about any time you'd like. National Geographic Orion has 53 cabins, all outward facing. They're very spacious and generous cabins. We've got a number of suites, some with balconies. All cabins have windows, or the balconies or portals all have ocean views. And we do have 3 dedicated solo cabins for our single travelers, which is a bonus there. But you'll find these cabins very well appointed, luxurious, and spacious. And then, of course, we get to the aspect that is nearest and dearest to my heart, and that is National Geographic Orion is really a perfect platform for getting out and exploring. We use the ship as our vehicle to travel to places that are otherwise difficult to get to. We'll have Zodiacs, we'll have kayaks, we'll be able to go ashore on remote islands. We have a full undersea program on board with an undersea specialist and dive masters on many of our itineraries. We'll have snorkel gear for all guests, and in addition, we'll be able to offer scuba diving for up to 24 guests. We are equipping the ship with a state-of-the-art ROV that will be able to explore the depths that are inaccessible to human divers and see what kind of wonders we can find. We'll have a glass-bottom boat, undersea video technology, bringing the undersea back into the lounge in the evenings, and then we'll also have a hydrophone that we'll be able to use to listen in on the vocalizations of whales and dolphins. In addition, we've got even more tools for exploration. We'll have a fleet of 14 Zodiacs. We'll have 24 double kayaks. These are inflatable kayaks, very stable and comfortable to use. A video microscope on board, which you may think is a little unusual, but it allows your team of naturalists to share with you some of the minute and microscopic life of the sea and the surrounding terrain. And then the ship is also equipped with a crow's nest camera, giving some very unique views. We also, well, now I'll talk to you just a bit about our itineraries and sort of the regions that the ship will be traveling through in 2014 and early 2015. We've got 5 itineraries in the South Pacific, and 1 itinerary in Borneo, another in Indonesia, and a couple of different itineraries in Australia. And then we'll close out 2014 and begin 2015 with some voyages to Antarctica, South Georgia, and the Falkland Islands. Our inaugural voyage, the first voyage as the newly christened, newly renamed National Geographic Orion, will depart from Auckland, New Zealand in March of next year. And this is a voyage that you can do in either one of 2 parts or in its entirety. I'll explain the 2 parts to you here now. The first voyage will start in New Zealand and continue through Vanuatu up to the Solomon Islands. We'll begin with seeing some of the intricate Maori carvings as we go to the Waitangi Treaty House up in the Bay of Islands, be treated to a cultural performance, and then we'll be wrapping up the voyage up in the cultures of the Solomon Islands, such as the Mudmen here of Santa Ana. In addition, we'll visit several islands in Vanuatu, including a visit to Tanna Island and a sunset trek up to the top of Mount Yasser. It's an active volcano, and we'll make our way up to the top of the volcano at sunset for some spectacular photography, see the lava, and with those photo experts on board that Darlene spoke to you about, we'll be able to, they'll give us instruction on how to capture the perfect images even in low light conditions. Additionally, we will be visiting the island of Pentecost, and this is a very exciting new development for us. The Pentecost Islanders are famous for their land diving. They erect these platforms, and then men will dive off the top of the platform with nothing but vines attached to their ankles to arrest their fall. The idea is that this is a fertility, agricultural fertility ritual to ensure a fruitful yam harvest, and they normally don't start this until April 1st. We're going to be there on March 28th, and they have invited us to come so that they inaugurate their land diving season with our inaugural voyage. It's a very exciting opportunity for us. Great photos, I expect. The second half of this inaugural voyage, or you could choose to do this as a standalone voyage, is the historic isles and undersea wonders. We'll travel from the Solomon Islands to the Great Barrier Reef. This will happen in late March and early April, and we'll visit eastern Papua New Guinea and then come across to the northernmost point of Australia there at Cape York and down into Cairns, spending a couple of days on the Great Barrier Reef. We'll have some amazing snorkel and dive opportunities in the Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, the Great Barrier Reef. Really a chance to explore these warm tropical waters, colorful reef fishes. In addition, we'll also be visiting some of the, experiencing some of the cultures of the region. One of the most fun is the culture there in the Trobriand Islands, Kitava Island in Papua New Guinea. We have the opportunity to experience a welcome ceremony as they share their village life and their culture with us. We also will have the opportunity to see some of the day-to-day aspects of their village life, things like watching the locals sail this outrigger sailing canoe with its coconut fiber sails out on this beautiful turquoise lagoon. As you can see, wonderful colors, great photo opportunities. Both sections of this inaugural voyage are going to have some special guests on board. We've got National Geographic photographers Amy Tensing and Matt Moyer. Very excited to have them on board. The first voyage, the voyage from New Zealand up to Solomon Islands, will also have the opportunity to meet National Geographic grantee and University of Canberra archaeology professor and an expert on Vanuatu, Dr. Stuart Bedford. And from my point of view, one of the most exciting people we're going to get to travel with is our Global Perspectives guest speaker, Valerie Taylor. She and her husband, Ron, are pioneering undersea photographers and filmmakers. You see her pictured here under this colorful reef wall. This was a cover of National Geographic back in the 70s, and we'll get to hear many stories about her time at sea and her underwater filming experiences. The next voyage will take us from Cairns north through eastern Papua New Guinea up to the Federated States of Micronesia and finish up in the island nation of Palau. We'll have just one voyage with one of these itineraries, and that's in April of next year. One of the highlights of this trip, as you can see here, is a chance to snorkel among thousands of nearly stingless jellyfish in Palau's Jellyfish Lake. I had the opportunity to do this earlier this year, and it really is just a phenomenal experience. These jellies are in a lake that has been isolated from the surrounding lagoon. It's a saltwater lake, and they have essentially evolved to lose their stinging ability. Rather than capturing prey with stinging tentacles, they use photosynthesis. They follow the sun, and they cluster and mass, and will swim through their delicate bodies. It's a very spectacular experience. Another highlight of this voyage is going to be, again, those cultures. This voyage will also include a visit to the Trobriand Islands. And here you can see these young children who are, I think sometimes they're more excited to see us than we are to see them, dressed up, sharing their finery with us, and make some great photographic opportunities. Always fun to share those images with them. We'll jump ahead to later in 2014 now, and at this point of next year, we'll begin a series of 3 voyages that will take us from Australia all the way across the Pacific to Easter Island. This first of those 3 voyages, one time we'll offer it in November of 2014 from Cairns to Lautoka, Fiji. It will include Papua New Guinea, the Solomon Islands, and Vanuatu. We'll have some incredible snorkel and dive opportunities on this voyage, some of the World War II wrecks in the Solomon Islands and Vanuatu, especially the world-famous wreck of the SS President Coolidge, a converted troop carrier. And we'll finish up this voyage at the island of Banga in Fiji, where we'll have a chance to witness their famous firewalking ceremony, be introduced to village life, share some food with them, and see how they perform this incredible feat of strength and agility. This voyage, of course, will include some time for contemplation, relaxation, so many beautiful beaches and picturesque islands, and during, maybe as a little bit of a break from the cultural encounters and the undersea exploration, all of these voyages will offer moments for contemplation: coconut palms, turquoise water, white sand beaches. Again, as I mentioned earlier, a chance to share your videos and photos with locals who may or may not ever have seen their image before. Fun interactions, and really authentic, allowing us to make these connections in some of these very remote, inaccessible islands. The next voyage in this series is our reefs, lagoons, and volcanic isles that will travel from Fiji to Tahiti. One time, mid-November next year, We'll travel from Fiji through the Kingdom of Tonga to Samoa, the Northern Cook Islands, the Line Islands, and then finish this voyage in Papeete in French Polynesia. This trip is going to include some of what are called the high islands, so these high volcanic islands that are cloaked in rainforest, really lush and green, and then surrounded by fringing reefs. So in addition to the land exploration, we'll have some, again, more snorkel and dive opportunities, colorful corals and reef invertebrates, giant clams, as you see here, and colorful reef fish like this anemone fish. Many of you probably remember Nemo. These clownfish or anemone fish they can be a little bit pugnacious. They'll come out and look you right down the barrel of your camera, but some wonderful opportunities to explore underwater. Up in the Northern Cook Islands and also into French Polynesia, we will have the opportunity to visit a pearl farm. These black pearls, often referred to as Tahitian pearls, are cultivated in the region, and these pearl oysters incorporate those black volcanic sands into their pearls, really striking and beautiful, and of course they're cultivated in gorgeous turquoise lagoons, such as this one. Again, just know that there are going to be many opportunities for strolling on a white sand beach, dipping your feet in that warm South Pacific water, and watching the sunset from shore. Plenty of time for relaxation and contemplation in the midst of our exploration. The final voyage will be headed from French Polynesia, from Tahiti, all the way across to Easter Island. And this trip, again, one voyage, early December 2014. We'll see Tahiti, Bora Bora, and across through the Tuamotu and Gambier groups of French Polynesia to the Pitcairn Islands. And this, on the Pitcairn Islands, we'll have the opportunity to snorkel and dive, also going ashore and learning about the very unique culture of these remote rocky islands out in the Pacific, and the history of the HMS Bounty mutineers. These yellowfin surgeonfish that you see here are abundant throughout the region, and we expect that we'll see them on many of our voyages, many of our snorkel outings. Beautiful photograph by Brian Scarry. Of course, no visit to French Polynesia would be complete without a chance to see some of the graceful Tahitian dancers. In addition to this modern dance presentation, we'll also learn from our naturalist team on board about the history of exploration by the Polynesians and how they traveled in their voyaging canoes across the Pacific and populated the islands of Polynesia. And of course, there's Bora Bora, that iconic image. We'll see the high peak there and have a chance to explore both on land and also in the lagoon. Very beautiful and iconic location. We'll end this voyage at Easter Island. We'll actually disembark the ship and spend 2 full days and nights on Easter Island. We'll be guided by a National Geographic archaeologist, and we'll be able to learn the history or the thoughts about the enigmatic people that once occupied the island, and also these famous moai statues. Learn a bit about how they were created, and I think that's a fitting end to this voyage. We'll jump back a little bit earlier in the year now and talk about some of our voyages in Borneo and Indonesia. In September of 2014, we're going to have 2 departures of our wild encounters from Borneo to Bali. One voyage will travel from Bali to Singapore. The second voyage will travel from Singapore back to Bali. This trip is going to include visits to both Malaysian and Indonesian Borneo at Bako National Park and Tanjung Puting National Park. And of course, one of the highlights, perhaps the highlight of this voyage, is going to be a chance to see orangutans. We'll visit famed Camp Leakey, where National Geographic grantee and one of the three, as they're called, the tri-mates, the women of primate biology, Dr. Barute Galdikas, she and Jane Goodall and Diane Fossey are all proteges of Leakey, and she has established this Camp Leakey to rehabilitate displaced orangutans at her care center and also to preserve this delicate rainforest. So we'll travel up the river by Zodiac, also by local boat, these clotocs, and have chance to scan for bird life, tropical vegetation. It's an all-day exploration. We'll, of course, be hoping for lots of looks at the young orangutans and also these fascinating proboscis monkeys. We'll spend a full day in Camp Leakey and then another day at the Infant Care Center. So we really get a chance to experience South Kalimantan, or Indonesian Borneo, and the diverse rainforest there. The next voyage will have one time in October of next year, and that's going to take us from Bali back through the eastern part of Indonesia, over to West Papua, and down into Cairns. This is our Indonesian Odyssey, and as I said, Bali to the Great Barrier Reef. Some exciting snorkel opportunities. There are very healthy sea turtle populations in the region. We'll be looking at much of the undersea life. And then a highlight for me, many of our other voyages are including culture, Polynesian culture, Melanesian culture. This voyage will include visits to the islands of East Nusa Tenggara. And this is a very unique and remote region of Indonesia. We'll have a chance to experience their culture as well. The region is known for its textiles. These textiles that you see here are called ikat. Ikat weaving is very almost village specific, and we'll learn about how the patterns are designed, the dyes that are used, how these beautiful weavings are made. We'll also see some of their dances, the bamboo pole dance, and just have this experience of Indonesian culture. When we get over to West Papua and the Asmat region, we will have really a treat in store for us there. We'll be greeted by these West Papuan Melanesian men coming out in their canoes, traditional attire, welcoming us with song and drumming as the ship arrives, and then also as we come into their village up the river by Zodiac. So it's a mix of ancient and modern boat travel. Another highlight of this voyage is a trip to Komodo Island, where of course we'll be walking ashore with the National Park Rangers and our own natural history team, looking for Komodo dragons. They're pretty spectacular, very dramatic animals, can grow up to 10 feet long, weigh 300 pounds, and we'll be hoping for some great photo opportunities, and our photo instructors will give us lots of tips. One of the mainstays of our year next year will be 9 departures from May through July into the Kimberley region of Northwest Australia. This is a region that many Americans may not have heard of, but will find spectacularly beautiful. Of course, Australians are well familiar with the iconic nature of the Kimberley. We'll have a chance to see some of the Aboriginal art galleries along this voyage. There are the Wandjina rock art galleries, and we'll hike ashore back into this red rock country, and then we'll learn from the traditional owners of this land the stories behind those paintings. We'll also travel by Zodiac up the King George River, this gorgeous red rock canyon, steep cliff walls, very dramatic. One of my favorite aspects of this voyage. And then in the earlier part of the season, we'll see the dramatic King George Falls. We'll also be including a flight skiing trip over the Bungle Bungle Ranges, these famous beehive-shaped rock formations, sandstone karst, very spectacular seen from the air. One of the critters that we're likely to see quite a few of, and certainly be aware of their presence on this Kimberley voyage, are the saltwater crocodiles. They are abundant. This is really some pristine wilderness, and their habitat is still intact. These guys, we'll be hoping to see them on shore and on rocks while we're out on our Zodiac cruises, and then we'll be keeping our eyes open for them. For this reason, we will not be able to offer kayaking, and we certainly won't offer snorkeling here in the Kimberley region, but we'll definitely be hoping for some great photo ops while they're hauled out on shore. And then just one time next year, as we wrap up our Kimberley season, we will offer a voyage that includes both the Kimberley region and also the Spice Islands of Indonesia. That'll be in August of next year. We'll head out to Rolly Shoals, which is a pristine marine park, do some snorkeling and diving, and travel up to Timor-Leste and then on into Indonesia, also Komodo Islands, some more Indonesian culture. But we will start the voyage again with that red rock of the Kimberley, and here in Talbot Bay, also looking at the beautiful turquoise water. There's some incredible tide fluctuations there that drive some natural phenomena such as Montgomery Reef and what's known as the horizontal waterfall. From that pristine wilderness region, we'll travel north into, again, East Nusa Tenggara region of Indonesia, seeing the textiles that I've already spoken about, meeting the native cultures, and learning a bit more about the region. One of the highlights also at this time of year, beginning in July and continuing in full force when this voyage runs in August, is the humpback whale population. Western Australia has one of the most abundant, one of the healthiest breeding populations of humpback whales of anywhere in the world. These animals travel north from their summer feeding grounds in Antarctica. They come up along the Western Australia coast, take advantage of the warm waters to breed and give birth to their young. We'll be dropping our hydrophone in the water, hoping to listen to some of their mating songs, and also asking our photo instructors for tips on how to capture motion shots like this beautiful breaching humpback here. It's really a highlight of this voyage at this time of year. And then some of the last itineraries that we'll be operating on National Geographic Orion in 2014 and early 2015 are our Antarctica, South Georgia, and the Falkland Islands. We'll visit the Antarctic Peninsula, we'll travel from Ushuaia out to Port Stanley in the Falklands, and then we'll spend some days at South Georgia. Lindblad Expeditions has over 45 years of experience in the region. National Geographic Orion is an ice-class hull, so we will be able to explore the ice of the Antarctic Peninsula and see those dramatic landscapes, the dramatic icebergs, and spend time out on deck photographing. At South Georgia, the king penguin colonies there are incredible. We'll go ashore and be able to stand among thousands of king penguins. And we are offering 3 departures of this voyage in December, January, and February. Of course, that's the middle of the austral or southern hemisphere summer. So really a highlight. And that brings us to the end of 2014 and the beginning of 2015 and the end of my presentation here. I look forward to welcoming you aboard National Geographic Orion, and I think I'll turn you back over to Darlene at this point. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Michelle. That was great. So informative. So we have an excellent lineup of National Geographic photographers on board this season, with one on every voyage. They're all experts, many award-winning. Some of them focus on shooting cultures all over the world, like Amy Tunsing, Matt Moyer, and Chris Rainier, who you see pictured here. Others are some of the world's best underwater and marine mammal photographers, such as David Duboulet, Brian Scarry, and Flip Nicklin. So you can see the voyages that they're on, and these are also on our website, of course. During the Kimberley season, we have other fantastic photographers assigned. We've got Jeff Maritzen on the first Kimberley departure. Ralph Lee Hopkins and David Wright are on the next few departures together. Actually, Ralph is our Director of Expedition Photography, and David Wright is a filmmaker in addition to a photographer. Following that, we have the award-winning and lovely Michael Melford, and then Ira Block. And then to close out the Kimberley season, we have the very much loved Cotton Coulson and Sissy Brimberg on both the last Kimberley departure, along with the Kimberley expedition with the Spice Islands in early August. In addition to that, we have Global Perspectives guest speakers on some of the voyages, a couple of which Michelle mentioned earlier on in the presentation, starting with Valerie Taylor on the 2 inaugural voyages, our legendary diver, filmmaker, and underwater photographer. In addition, Dr. Stuart Bedford, the National Geographic grantee and archaeologist. After that, on 2 different voyages, the Wild Encounters from Borneo to Bali and Indonesian Odyssey, we have Lawrence Blair. He's an expert on the culture, geography, and zoology of Indonesia, and he was also the writer, presenter, and co-producer of the acclaimed series Ring of Fire, which won 2 Emmys in 1988. On our November Exploring the Coral Sea voyage from Papua New Guinea to Fiji, we have Dame Carol Kidju. She was former Papua New Guinean Member of Parliament and a women's advocate as well. She's been honored for her dedication and tremendous work to helping women, young girls, children, and also fighting discrimination. And on our Antarctica, South Georgia, in the Falklands, February 14th departure, we have Jared Diamond, Pulitzer Prize winner, UCLA professor, and a National Geographic Explorer in residence. And of course, you can read full bios on our Global Perspectives guest speakers and the photographers on board on our website at expeditions.com. Our voyages are an excellent value, and the prices include accommodations, ground transfers to and from group flights, all meals, non-alcoholic beverages, plus cappuccinos, lattes, complimentary refillable water bottle, and 24-hour coffee, tea, and soda. Activities, shore excursions, and all Zodiac and kayak excursions. Snorkeling complete with wetsuits, masks, and fins, so you don't need to pack those and trek them over. Tips, taxes, port charges, and service charges. The services of our expedition team, which is also a full schedule of talks throughout the voyages. We also offer hors d'oeuvres and snacks during our nightly recap in the lounge. The wellness options, use of the sauna, the whirlpool hot tub, the fitness center, and we also offer the morning stretch class with the wellness specialist. And naturally, complete pre-journey information, including what to pack as well as the reading list. And a couple of important notes for the scuba divers who are listening. Scuba divers need to be certified prior to the voyage, and that's by an internationally recognized dive association. And we do ask that you show your certification cards and logbooks on board. In addition, divers need to have logged 25 dives in total and have made a dive within the 12 months preceding the voyage. And here's a look at the distinct features that we offer guests and what gives you a deeper and richer Lindblad experience. We have the finest South Pacific expedition team to guide you, and they are completely dedicated to your happiness and your experience. You also learn more in the area of photography from our National Geographic photographer and Lindblad National Geographic certified photo instructor that's on every voyage. The full undersea program with snorkeling, scuba diving, the glass bottom boat, the ROV, undersea specialists and dive masters that Michelle had talked about, in addition to the other tools for exploration, Zodiacs, kayak, hydrophone, all of those things make the experience especially rich. As the pioneers of expedition travel and with over 50 years experience, we know it better than anyone. Flexibility and choice are hallmark of our expeditions. We have the delicious, sustainable cuisine and excellent accommodations. And we also have a video chronicler aboard who's there to record the top moments of your experience. And our commitment to conservation ensures that your visit will be a force of good in the region. And just to note that, as Michelle had mentioned earlier, just to recap, we don't have the undersea program, the snorkeling, diving, kayaking, swimming in the Kimberley. We do on the majority of other voyages. We have a few special offers to bring you through, talk about today. The first is the back-to-back savings. So we offer 10% on any consecutive journeys taken aboard National Geographic Orion. For groups, which are parties of 8 guests or more, each guest receives 5% off the cost of the expedition. And for families, we offer $500 off the double occupancy rate for each guest under 18. We encourage you to learn more on our website at expeditions.com. We have detailed itineraries there, videos, staff bios, and we also have daily expedition reports that are reports live from the staff out in the field every day. So currently you can browse our website and see them for the other ships, and they'll be there for National Geographic Orion once we start sailing in March. And all of our webinars can be viewed online at expeditions.com/webinars. This one will also be recorded next week. Well, thanks everyone for your time today. That brings us to the end. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to call one of our expedition specialists at 1-800-EXPEDITION. And Michelle, thank you so much again for taking us through all of this.
Oh, thanks very much, Darlene. Thanks everyone for listening. Looking forward to welcoming you aboard National Geographic Orion or another Lindblad voyage.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.